Oh, it's bad for you. How many times have we heard it? Sometimes it seems that every goddamn thing we do is bad for us. It's a wonder any of us are even still alive, right?
True.
Tonight, we look at some shit that's bad for you and ask, how bad is it really? Let's do a cost-benefit analysis and see what's really what. Wait, are you guys watching Deep Fat Fried show? That podcast is bad for you. What are you doing? It's rotting your brains. Get out while you still can.
Deep Fat Fried.
All right. So today we're going to look at three things that are, at least according to some people, bad for us. We're going to determine just how bad they really are. We're going to take a look at I'm interested in like the positive aspects of the things that are bad for us, you know, like what's the other side of the fucking story, you know, because like there's very few things in life that are just, oh, it's just bad, you know?
Yeah.
Usually there's some kind of fucking upswing, like some kind of like reason why people fucking do it.
Isn't bad subjective, TJ?
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I think it's a fair point you're making, but I don't know.
So first we're going to look at a contentious one that, you know, you see some people say it's good, some people say it's bad. That's milk. Then we're going to look at something that's a little bit more universally despised in the form of cigarettes. And then after that, we're going to look at a substance that's been calling my name lately, anabolic steroids. Oh, yeah. So let's start with milk. Ah, yes. Pure, sweet, white milk. What could be more Anglo-Saxon than a refreshing glass of milk? Moo, bitch. It's milk. That's if I was going to do a fucking slogan for milk, that would be it. Moo, bitch. It's milk.
I don't know why during like the early 2000s they didn't do like a moo, bitch, get out the way, you know.
Oh,
like,
yeah, that's true.
What was that guy's name again that did that? Flo Rida? No. It was that same era though. It was
moo, bitch, get out the way. Get out the way, bitch. It was
Ludacris.
Ludacris. Yeah.
Yeah, Ludacris. Which is very appropriate. So when I was a kid, you know, it seemed like everyone knew milk was good for you, right? I mean, that's what they told us. There was commercials all over the TV.
Don't you want strong bones, TJ?
Parents told us, yeah, calcium, strong bones. Calcium, strong bones. Milk, milk, milk.
Healthy
and then came
teeth
along.
Too.
Yep, healthy teeth. You know, but that was the main thing. It's like, oh, milk makes you strong. It was like milk makes you grow. Milk makes you fucking powerful, dominant, awesome, fucking badass motherfucker. You want to be healthy? The only thing you got to do, drink some fucking goddamn milk.
TJ, you got milk?
Got milk? Yeah, that's true. Got milk, bitch. You fucking got age. Say to Brownie, you're fucking blah, blah, blah. Drink some milk, clear that shit right up.
Peanut butter and jelly sandwich.
Tie that tongue.
This show determines the best sandwich of all time. What do you want with it? A glass of milk.
You need some milk with that. Even if you don't like drinking milk normally, after a fucking peanut butter and jelly sandwich, you got to have at least a few fucking gulps of milk, you know?
About the story, you give a mouse a cookie. What is it going to ask for?
Glass of milk, motherfucker. Got some Oreos. What are you going to dip them in? Milk. It's a lot of fucking applications for this shit.
You put chocolate in it. You get chocolate milk. There's a lot of shit.
Mm-hmm. But then came along a bunch of assholes to tell us that milk is bad. Oh, it's lie. It doesn't make you stronger. It makes you weaker. And it gives you prostate cancer and acne and blah, 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 blah. But we'll get all to the bad shit in a minute. So first of all, a little history on milk, right? About 10,000 years ago, human beings spent most of their energy looking for food. You know, you hunt, you gather, you fish. Those are the ways you get it. And, you know, if the hunt was poor or the berries weren't plentiful for some reason, unseasonal frost or some shit like that, or the fish just ain't biting, you got a big fucking problem. It's like, unstable fucking food source here. And so a bunch of these ancient primitive motherfuckers looking around and they think to themselves, what if we kidnapped that mama goat right there, kill her babies, we'll eat them, and we'll just start fucking taking that milk for our fucking selves. And the answer to that is, well, now you got a fucking rich source of calories that's like very replenishable, right?
Sure.
Yeah.
So, makes sense. And the nutritional profile of milk pretty much is really nothing to fucking sneeze at, right? So I'm going to go ahead and just leave it on this one here. So let's just fucking do a little, this is a breakdown of like 1 cup of whole milk in terms of like the shit that it contains. So first of all, 146 calories. That's pretty calorie dense. And calories, as you might or might not know, are the energy units that power your fucking body. Now, for some reason, nowadays we hate calories because I guess we're all too fat. You know, there's a huge obesity epidemic in this country, right? And all over the world, really.
Yeah.
But particularly bad here. I don't think we're number 1 anymore. I think it's Mexico, but I could be mistaken.
Well, I mean, even if we're not, we're hot on the heels. Whoever's number 1.
Yeah, we're fucking up there. And so calories have kind of gotten a bad name, but you can't live without calories. You need them to power your fucking body. But for some reason we hate them now. Maybe it's part of that death urge that Paul was telling me about from that Derek Jensen guy, you know. But I'm sure he's probably not a milk drinker. He probably would think it's like some kind of slavery or something.
I'd have to ask Derek Jensen if he drinks milk.
Yeah, I don't know. Is he like he's like vegan probably, right?
No.
I mean, I don't know.
No?
Okay.
If he is, he doesn't talk about it.
So that's not an important part of his life.
No.
That would make him a
environmental
rare
shit.
vegan if he was one. If he was a vegan that didn't talk about it, the rarest of vegans.
But you know, like this, we have this anti-calorie shit now. So I don't know, like, which is why you have these like skim milks and shit, which
Well,
basically
I have
is
an
like,
abundance of calories. That's why
what
we
if
have
there was-
abundance of food.
what if we took
some
all
people
of the
do.
like nutrient value out of milk? Okay, let's just drink white water. Cool. Yeah, that'll be good. Let's deprive our bodies of fucking vital energy. That's gonna solve our problems. Okay, cool. So in that same cup of milk, 8 grams of protein. Protein is necessary for many vital functions in your body, including growth and development, cellular repair. That's repair of your cells, not repair of your cell phone, just in case anyone's stupid enough to not get that. I know that some of you are out there. I don't know how you fucking live in society. I don't know how you fucking function, but you're out there. I know you are.
I'm glad you cleared that up for me, DJ. I was thinking of a cell phone repair guy.
Yeah.
You probably did help at least one person. Dude, if you are
right.
that one person, have courage and comment on this and admit it.
Yeah, just be like, oh, that's me. Also does some immune system regulation, you know, keeps your immune system strong. It's got 8 grams of fat as well. You know, fat, you know, it gets a bad, back in the 80s, this is one I could have done a whole segment on in and of itself, because back in the 80s, there was this idea that because we were getting fat, the culprit must be fat in our diets, right?
Right.
It's not. Fat doesn't make you fat. I mean, it does if you fucking eat too much of it, just like anything will.
I don't think the food scientists and the corporations thought that actually. They just knew it was an easy way to market junk foods and products and
So
say,
it's like,
it's fat-free.
reduced fat, fat-free, blah, blah, blah. And yeah, there's less calories in it, but like it tastes like shit. You remember I had reduced fat Oreos, like 25% less fat than normal Oreos. I was eating that shit. I'm like, this is horrible.
The craziest that fucking craze from the 80s got was like in the early 90s, right around when I was in 8th grade, 9th grade, they came out with those Olestra chips.
Yeah.
That made you like they literally had to put it on the bag of chips. It would say Olestra may cause anal leakage.
Yeah.
Like it literally made it like greased people's innards up and made it like to where they couldn't stop squirting a little bit of shit into their pants. And that's how obsessed people were with cutting fat. Because the whole thing with Olestra is tastes just like a potato chip, but no fat. Well, in order to do that, you basically have to like butcher the innards of the human being or whatever.
Very true. And by the way, fat is not bad for you. I mean, there's many different kinds of fat, but like generally speaking, fat supports cholesterol, optimal cholesterol levels, promotes healthy body composition, supports healthy inflammatory pathways, optimizes brain function, liver health, also strengthens bones, promotes good sleep, improves skin, maintains healthy blood sugar levels. Now, this is all if you eat the right amounts, the right fats and the right amounts.
I would say if you eat nothing but fat, of course, not good for
now, if you sit there and fucking just like make like a fucking a large smoothie or something, then obviously you're going a little far. But, you know, you need fat in your diet. It's important.
Sure.
So 28% of the recommended daily allowance of calcium in a cup of milk. pretty fucking impressive there. Calcium is a mineral most often associated with healthy bones and teeth, although it also plays an important role in blood clotting, helping muscles to contract, regulating heart rhythms, and nerve functions. So calcium's pretty fucking heavy hitter. Vitamin D, 24% recommended daily allowance of vitamin D in that same fucking cup of milk. Vitamin D is a fat-soluble vitamin that has been known to help the body absorb and retain calcium and phosphorus, which milk also has both of those. Both are critical for building bones. Also, laboratory studies show that vitamin D can reduce cancer cell growth, help control infections, and reduce inflammation. So many of the body's organs and tissues have receptors for vitamin D, which suggest important roles beyond bone health, and scientists are actively investigating other possible functions of vitamin D. It might even do things for our body we don't even fucking know about. Also rich in B2 and B12, both of which are like good energy boosting fucking vitamins.
Also, I get to hear about it every time they pull blood on me.
Yes.
How deficient I am in vitamin D.
Yeah, you have vitamin D deficiency.
Yes.
Well, I would say you should drink more milk, but we haven't gotten to the bad stuff yet. So.
Right.
But yeah, I mean that's so vitamin D deficiency. Yeah, you know that's probably I don't know. I don't know if I'm deficient in anything. I know I have high triglycerides. That's the only thing I really know that's remarkable about my blood work.
If you did not have a vitamin D deficiency, I'd be amazed.
That's true because I never go out in the sun.
Yeah.
Which the main way you get.
Do you drink a lot of milk?
Not really anymore. But I was thinking about doing it a little more these days because I don't know. But I don't know. It's like we'll see. You got to fucking
sure.
You know, we're gonna do the cost benefit analysis because there is a dark side. So vitamin B12 also helps with production of elements of DNA, production of red blood cells, regeneration of bone marrow, lining of your gastrointestinal and respiratory tracts, health of your nervous system, which includes your spinal cord, and it's good at preventing anemia. Which Scotty, you had anemia at one point, didn't you?
Yeah. When I had my polyp. I had a polyp, and there's blood come out of my butt.
Yeah, your butt was leaking blood. Nasty motherfucker.
Yeah, but yeah, the only reason you actually get anemia, for the most part, unless you have some other sort of condition or you lost a lot of blood, which I did.
I know why there was blood coming out of his butt.
I don't get what does that even mean? I don't get what's that even mean? Are you implying something about me?
Potassium, 10% of the daily recommended fucking potassium levels in that same cup of milk. Potassium is an essential mineral that's needed by all the tissues of the body, sometimes referred to as an electrolyte because it carries a small electrical charge and activates various cells and nerve functions. Phosphorus, 22% of the recommended daily allowance, plays multiple roles in the body, key element of bone, teeth, and cell membranes, helps activate enzymes, keeps blood pH within a normal range. And finally, selenium. Not one we talk about too much, but there's 13% of the recommended daily allowance of selenium in there, which is a powerful antioxidant. It's not really found in very many foods, which improves cognitive function, is important to thyroid health, boosts your immune system, and reduces the symptoms of asthma.
Oh.
So interestingly enough, even though milk is very calorically dense, it's actually been shown to lower the risk of obesity. But interestingly, only whole milk. Not skim milk, not any of this other shit. Only whole milk has been shown to like have this link between reducing obesity. So they did a study of 145 3-year-old Latino children. They found that higher milk fat consumption was associated with a lower risk of childhood obesity. Another study, including over 18,000 middle-aged and elderly women, showed that eating more high-fat dairy products was associated with less weight gain and lower risk of obesity. They're not really exactly sure why. The predominant theory is basically because it's like so filling that they don't seek out other stuff.
Huh.
So the stats on milk are pretty positive at a glance, right? And it's like, okay, it's got all this fucking it's got like a bunch of fucking essential vitamins and minerals that are fucking apparently really good for you, some of which are hard to find elsewhere.
Yeah.
And it seems to have a link. There seems to be a link between, high fat milk and, fighting obesity, which is a huge problem. So what's the issue? Well, for one thing, 65% of the world's population is lactose intolerant, meaning that they cannot digest lactose, which is a sugar found in milk and in other dairy products.
Sure.
So basically, when human beings started drinking milk, we didn't have the ability to process it. So we had to develop this ability over time and generations. So even though there was, a good like caloric density, it gave people horrible gas. And honestly, the first generations of milk drinkers probably farted constantly. There was probably like a lot of fucking gastrointestinal distress, probably a lot of fucking farting going on,
What era would this have been?
It would have been anywhere from like 10,000 to 8,000 years ago.
Born in the wrong generation, man. You imagine the beautiful symphony of fucking flatus that would just greet you every fucking day, everywhere you went.
All right, everybody, it's milk night.
Oh, damn.
So interestingly, the people who are like these proponents of raw milk, people who hate, they don't like pasteurized milk for whatever reason. They say that people who claim to be lactose intolerant are really pasteurization intolerant, and that actually raw milk is able to be digested by anybody because it actually, I don't know, somehow provides the ability to digest itself. I don't know if that's true. I don't know if there's any science behind that. It's from like a bunch of evangelists for a fucking particular food item.
Yeah,
so
citation needed. Citation needed.
But, you can look into that yourself if you're interested. Now there's like a lot of fucking risks associated with drinking raw milk, but not according to the people who drink it, of course. To them, it's all a bunch of hooey. But
when people die from that, it's just like they didn't drink the right kind.
Well, they did it wrong. I don't know. But there are fucking big evangelists for that. I don't know. You could pretty much find an evangelist for anything in this country. So anyway, personally, I kind of think the lactose intolerant people are kind of pussies. Because like when humans first started drinking milk, no one had lactose tolerance. We had to develop it over time, And before that, milk made us gassy and we farted a bunch. I mean, like, so fucking what, right? And in fact, in many countries, like 95% of Asian people are lactose intolerant, but they still love milk in those countries. Asian countries in particular have been increasing milk consumption annually for many years now. In fact, the average height of men and women in many Asian countries has increased as they've increased their milk and dairy consumption.
Oh, shit. Man, just another sign they're getting ready to take over, man.
I know. They're drinking their milk, getting fucking, I think on average of 3 inches taller. If you drink milk throughout your fucking developmental years.
The milk supply to them. Got the milk supply to them right now.
So some critics point out, though, that this isn't necessarily a good thing because the growth hormones in milk are not necessarily good for you. Just because you're getting bigger doesn't mean you're healthier, right? But
bunch of fucking negative Nancy's. Get out of here. Nothing's good for you, dude. You're dying every second of every day. So, you know what I mean? Drink your milk. Snort your crank.
Okay. So, as far as I can tell, most of the milk hate seems to have its genesis in another group of evangelists, okay? And it's basically people who advocate for plant-based diets, vegans, basically.
There's a big moral argument against milk, too, because, to be frank, like factory farm milk cows don't live very full, rich, pain-free lives.
I mean, their babies are taken away from them, and they're hooked up to machines, and they're so like as far as like the ethics of it go, probably not the greatest fucking life in the world to just be like you're a milk pig or whatever. But the vegans, they point out that milk is like very high in saturated fat, very high in cholesterol. They also say that milk is really not that good for bone health. They have some studies that kind of back them up on that. So they have one study that shows that drinking milk during one's teenage years might actually increase your risk of hip fractures later in life. But I looked into the study, and the way that it was kind of deceptive because what they're basically saying is if you drink milk as a teenager, like I said, you grow 3 inches taller than you otherwise would have. Taller people are more likely to have hip fractures.
Right.
So basically, because they gained height, it increased their risk of a hip fracture. That doesn't mean it didn't strengthen their bones. It just means that it made them taller and therefore more prone to hip fractures.
Right.
So kind of a fucking deceptive way to present the information. But we're dealing with vegans. They don't fucking give a shit. So there's also evidence, and this one is a little bit harder to dismiss, but there's pretty good evidence to link milk to a higher risk of prostate cancer. So there was a meta-analysis of 20 milk studies that was published in 2020 that states further research is needed to examine the relationship between dairy and dairy products consumption and the increased risk of development of prostate cancer. It also states in its conclusion that prostate cancer is a complex disease with multifactorial origins that include genetics, diet, environmental factors. The risk reduction of prostate cancer development may be achieved when all these causative domains are fully understood and addressed. So they're basically cautioning you from, from drawing too strong of a link here. But that being said, the study also states that the overwhelming majority of the studies included in this systemic review were suggestive of a link between milk consumption and an increased risk of prostate cancer. Only one of the studies in this review did not show an association between milk consumption and an increased risk for the development of prostate cancer. So it does seem like it's pretty fair to conclude, at least tentatively, that milk and prostate cancer are linked in some way. Now, as for the extent of that link, as for like all of the other factors that need to be determined to figure out just exactly how this causal relationship is working, not really known at this point.
Yeah, they'd have to control for those other factors.
Right, and that's very difficult to do. Like most things with human health, very difficult to fucking pin shit down. Our bodies are fucking super
basically, there's preliminary evidence that suggests there could be a link between milk consumption and prostate cancer.
I mean, at this point, it's pretty strong that there is some kind of relationship. So milk's mixed reputation might be somewhat deserved. It's got a lot of things that are good for you in it, but it does have its dark side. And, I guess for everybody out there, weighing that the good and the bad is up to you. I personally don't think it's that bad for you. Prostate cancer is a pretty common kind of cancer. And the risks, the increased risk is probably, like not too bad. Just get checked out for it.
But you wouldn't be happy tomorrow to hear TJ, oh, you got prostate cancer. Even
of course not.
Even if there's a 95% survival rate, which is a very high survival rate for prostate cancers. But at the same time, I mean, no one's going to be happy to hear that fucking news.
Right. No one's going to be like, oh, yeah, I'm glad that I have prostate cancer now. That's so cool. Wonderful.
It's official.
I was always hoping I'd get prostate cancer.
It's official. I definitely have breast cancer.
She was so casual about it. Yeah. That's my favorite thing.
Does that ever come back in the script? No.
Nope. We're referencing the room in case anyone doesn't know. So let's move on to one that's a little bit less mixed of a fucking opinion. Let's talk about cigarettes.
Oh, the good old
my old vice, Paul's current vice. Scotty's the only one smart enough to never fucking have this, I guess. But you know what? Cigarettes, they're pretty much seen as unanimously terrible. But what are the positive attributes of smoking? Because if you're going to say, honestly, there aren't any, you're full of shit.
Yeah, you look fucking cool as fuck.
I mean, yeah, people that smoke look cooler. I mean, it's a fact. I mean, even as someone who doesn't smoke and would never really... I mean, I've smoked an occasional cigarette, but I mean, I don't really smoke on a regular basis. Smoking makes you look
beyond
cooler.
Just looking cool, there's actually there's health benefits to smoking a cigarette. Like most drugs, there's fucking reasons why people do it.
I'm actually know that I played the Fallout games. When you smoke cigarettes, you get like perception buffs and shit.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
What if you have to pick a lock and it's one level above? You know what I mean?
Oh shit.
You smoke a cigarette. Oh shit. Yeah, there you go.
All right, got it.
Well, I mean, there's a reason for that because smoking does improve concentration.
It does.
In one experiment carried out by Wesneys and Warburton, smokers and non-smokers were required to watch a clock for 80 minutes. Every time the hand of the clock paused, they had to press a button. So not only did smokers outperform non-smokers, they were still performing just as well 60 minutes into the task, and they had a 10 to 15% faster reaction time than the non-smokers.
Damn.
So the smokers were way more.
It's a stimulant, so they had a little bit of a stimmy high. You know what I mean? And they were able to get on the button a little quicker and more accurately. I get it.
So another thing that smoking does, and any smoker knows this, is it reduces aggression.
It does calm you the fuck down. It really does.
So researcher Norma Heimstra hired smokers and non-smokers to carry out a repetitive task for 6 hours without pause. So the non-smokers became very angry and frustrated and aggressive, but the smokers remained calm. So basically, this horrible, repetitive, redundant, miserable task was way easier for the smokers than it was for the non-smokers because they just had that smooth sort of nicotine brain going. Well, dude, I'm fine.
Look at any super repetitive job like restaurant industry, factory jobs, military. All those motherfuckers smoke.
80% of prisoners smoke, by the way. So
Yeah,
like
well,
a lot of
'cause
people in stressful situations, they
Well,
cope with it a
also,
lot better when they
they will
smoke
let
cigarettes.
people take a break to smoke. Like, that's the thing, a lot of industries, like, if you say, "I just wanna take a break, just I wanna take a break." Get the fuck back to work.
When
We'll take
was
a
it?
smoke
I think
break.
it was all the way up through the 80s. It used to be in rations for soldiers. Like
Oh, yeah.
every ration pack had like 4 or 5 smokes and matches in it so that they could smoke.
Smoking also dramatically reduces your risk of Alzheimer's disease. Smoking has long been thought to have help with Alzheimer's. Dr. James Lefanu arguing that smoking makes you 50% less likely to get the dreaded disease. Now, I don't know how fucking accurate that number is, but there is some pretty good evidence to support that it at least does reduce your risk of it. So there was a doctor named Paul Newhouse who gave people with memory problems nicotine patches, and they regained 46% of their long-term memory.
Damn.
Wow.
So yeah, I mean, like, so you see, there's like a lot of mental benefits, specifically to the nicotine that's in cigarettes.
I mean, I think you'd be disingenuous to say there's no benefits to smoking. I mean, like, even as someone who doesn't smoke, like, people wouldn't do it if there's just nothing to it. Like, I just want to, I want to kill myself. That's all I want to do. There's got to be a reason they're doing it.
So another good thing about smoking is an antipsychotic. When scientist Alexander Glassman surveyed people with schizophrenia, he found that an astonishing 86% of them smoked. So some anti-smoking groups explain this by arguing that smoking causes and or triggers the mental illness. However, in addition to helping the brain work better temporarily, nicotine is also an antipsychotic and an anxiolytic, meaning psychiatric wards often become disruptive when they include smoking bans. So like a lot of these mental health facilities have tried to institute like smoking bans, and the patients are all of a sudden like far more unruly, right?
Yeah.
Which is probably why prisoners are given such good access to cigarettes and stuff as well, because it makes them a little bit more compliant, because they're able to deal with the stress and they're not as likely to just be like, let's fucking riot. Let's like burn the prison down. Ultimately, smoking could trigger mental illness, but at the same time, it helps people who already have mental illness. Another thing that smoking helps with is the risk of Parkinson's disease. It may also reduce the risk of breast cancer. It lowers the risk of knee replacement therapy. Lowers the risk associated with knee replacement therapy. Lowers the risk of obesity. Lowers the risk of death after a heart attack. So if you have a heart attack, you're actually more likely to survive it if you've smoked. I don't know why. Helps the heart drug clopidogrel work better, I guess. Has the ability to do... So here's the most interesting thing to me about nicotine is that it has the ability to either relax you or stimulate you depending on how it's used. And smokers kind of instinctively know this.
Oh yeah.
So I believe basically, like, if you want nicotine to stimulate you, if you hit that cigarette like quick, like that, you get like it's a stimulant. If you want it to fucking give you that relaxing effect, you take longer, slow drags like.
Us growing up around Steve, we're well versed in people trying to quit smoking and calm down from smoking, because when that dude would actually, not the bullshit I'm quitting, but like really try to quit, oh my fucking god, you would know, because he'd be the biggest asshole. Then after like finally he'd be like, fuck, I'm smoking a cigarette. 20 minutes later, hey guys. So it's like, I've seen this shit firsthand. I'm sure everyone has.
I mean, a lot of that is just the addiction.
Oh,
Like, you take an addict off of any drug that they're addicted to, and they're going to be crabby as fuck, at least.
Yeah, and I mean, my understanding is I was like pretty horrible for like the especially like the immediate weeks after doing like the cold turkey shit that I did.
Oh, dude, you had like a show where after you would quit, and you were just like super fucking mad, like you went off on me and Paul and like threatened to beat our asses or something because you would stop smoking.
Yeah, I mean, like I got surly as fuck, which I already have like something of a like tendency towards anyway, but like, man, I definitely got fucking like super surly. But so despite all these health benefits to cigarettes, it's probably not, you're probably not going to want to light up just yet, because smoking definitely deserves its shoddy reputation. So I don't have to tell you lung cancer is a risk of fucking cigarette smoke. Obviously, it is.
I mean, yeah, of course.
It kills more people than any other type of cancer, and 90% of lung cancer is caused by cigarettes. COPD, which is chronic obstructive pulmonary disease, is a lung disease, makes it hard to breathe.
Emphysema.
Limits mobility, all that stuff. About 85 to 90% of all COPD is caused by cigarette smoke. It's also the 4th leading cause of death in the United States. Increases your risk of heart disease, constricts your arteries, that can cause a stroke, can give you asthma, more likely to develop type 2 diabetes, leading cause of blindness in adults over 65.
I did not know that.
Underreported kind of fucking side effect there.
Oh, you might go blind.
Aside from lung cancer, smoking is also linked with colon cancer, cervix cancer, liver cancer, stomach cancer, pancreatic cancer, bladder cancer, and like more than 10 other cancers.
But you won't have Alzheimer's probably.
Erectile dysfunction, increased proclivity towards hip fractures, rheumatoid arthritis, gum disease, weakened immune system, muscular degeneration. Smokers tend to smell bad to non-smokers. Smoking diminishes your ability to smell and taste. Smoking causes accelerated aging. Smoking is expensive. Smoking stains your fingers and your teeth. And the World Health Organization says that half of all smokers will die from something caused by their smoking. So it's like,
hey, but 50% won't.
But, improve concentration, though. So, hey.
Juggle it.
Just got to juggle.
Yeah. That's why my life has been a constant back and forth of quitting and getting back on cigarettes. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I think you quit for like 8 years at one point, right?
More. It was closer to 10 years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the other one I want to talk.
I am. You will be.
You're probably right. I don't know. Because the urge is not. The urge, even after all this time. I quit in June of 2020. I guess I'll go back to cigarettes for a second, since we're going to talk about this a little bit. But
yeah, sure.
The urge has not gone away. I quit in June of 2020. We're now in June, or we're nearly in June of 2022. So it's been nearly 2 years, and it's like. I'm not sitting here like, man, I don't even desire a cigarette anymore. It's still in there, and I don't think it's ever going away.
The problem with it is that recidivism in people who have quit smoking is often triggered by extremely stressful events, and nobody's life is free from extreme stress.
Yep.
So, if you do fall back into it, it'll probably be during a time in your life where there's just fucking shit's falling apart, or
right.
Something happened to somebody you love, or whatever the fuck it is. You know what I mean? That'll be what triggers it.
Some kind of fucking giant tragedy or something like that. Some fucking difficult time of turmoil where the stress levels are high. It's like, oh fuck, where's my old crutch? And
dude, for me, breaking the 10 years, all it took was just a breakup. I managed to maintain my cigarette sobriety through a divorce.
Yeah.
And then the subsequent breakup was the one where I was just like, fuck it. I'm going.
Yep, give me the smoke.
Give me a smoke.
Yep. Yeah, might as well.
Dude, I'll tell you what. I started smoking. I had a brief time where I was smoking Black and Milds. And I remember the time I just quit it was because I had smoking for 3 months, and of course, you smoke one a day. And you're like, oh, I gotta smoke 2 a day. And finally, I was smoking a pack a day, and I'm like, man, I really need to get some Black and Milds. And I was like, no, I don't. I need to quit this shit, or I'm gonna be fucking smoking this shit. And then I'll be
Black and Milds were my gateway drug into fucking. So it was like I was smoking weed, and then I stopped smoking. I didn't stop smoking weed, but I couldn't find any weed, and so I got some Black and Milds just to have something to smoke. And then the next thing I knew, I was is like, well, I'm smoking Black and Milds, I might as well just smoke fucking cigarettes, And
Camel Crushes. That's when you got hooked, dude.
Yep. It's because the Investigator came, and we shot that video together or whatever. I don't even remember the video we shot together, but I do remember he had cigarettes. And I was like, let me smoke one of those.
Investigator.
It was
right.
Yeah.
So
I remember
the Investigator got me on fucking cigarettes, dude. It's fucking crazy. So fucking he gives me a Camel Crush and shit, and I'm like, oh yeah, you pop the thing in there and it makes it. I'm like, oh yeah, yeah. And I smoked those for a while. Then this guy's like, quit smoking that bullshit. If you're gonna be a smoker, at least smoke fucking something respectable like American Spirits. I'm like, all right. So I started buying American Spirits, light green pack, and that's what I smoked for years. I don't know how many years I smoked. Probably 6.
Well, it's like if you're gonna smoke, the way I looked at it was like this. So it's basically like American politics. It's like harm reduction. Smoking's terrible for TJ, but should he be smoking Camel Crush filled with additives and chemicals, or at least the natural tobacco shit that American Spirit makes?
Yeah. So I mean, I did that. How many years did I smoke for, Scotty?
Fuck, dude.
Do you know what year I fucking started that shit?
It was probably 2013, at least 6 or 7 years.
Yeah, that's what it feels like. So I mean, I smoked for years. And yeah, I mean, it was great. I loved smoking.
Yeah.
I probably had fucking more. It probably improved. One thing smoking probably did for me too was improve my vitamin D because I actually had to go outside for some reason.
If you want to talk to TJ for that time period, like you would have to if you ever constituted, you'd have to go outside if you want to keep talking to him, because otherwise he'd be like, okay, I'm gonna sit outside. He smoked 2 or 3. Like, if you waited for TJ, there's no way, because it's like you're not having.
It was very rare for me to just smoke one cigarette. Like I pretty much always would smoke 2 or 3 cigarettes if I sat down.
Yeah,
and there was definitely times when I sat there and chain smoked like half a fucking pack.
If anyone that is not aware of this, smoking a fucking American Spirit is not like smoking like a Camel or Marlboro. Those things.
Oh, dude, if you fucking smoke American Spirits and someone lends you their like little Marlboro or something, you take like, it feels like that Marlboro is gone in a second. Like you take like 3 hits of that motherfucker and it's like, where is it? It's fucking already gone.
Or people bum a cigarette off you, they'd be like, this thing's still going. It's like, yeah, this is not like, it takes like 20 minutes to smoke one of those unless you're just doing like.
I mean, I got to the point where I could smoke one in like 3 or 4 minutes, but.
I mean, yeah, but you were fucking so addicted to that point.
But then when someone would lend me like one of their little cigarettes, it was almost like it was gone in a fucking like 30 seconds. It's like,
what?
Next.
I remember you give them to Steve because like Steve would want to go out with TJ to smoke with him. Like, let's smoke some weed. And of course, Steve would be like, TJ got any smokes? And one of Steve's million times quitting, and TJ would hand him like a American Spirit, and he would just be like, "This train's never gonna fucking end." And he I would see a bunch of half fucking smoked American Spirits because he would just get sick of smoking. So it took him so much longer to smoke one.
And I just take them back. A lot of times he'd be like, "I'm taking this." So anyway, I'm gonna talk about steroids now.
Yes, TJ, we'll talk about the steroids.
The steroids.
Yeah, you're very strong, TJ.
So one of the things that's interesting about steroids, by the way, this is not in my document, but this is just something I'm going to say. Like, I've been doing like a lot of like research in like these health and fitness channels. I got to tell you, like, there's a bunch of these channels that run on this basic scam. A dude takes a bunch of steroids, gets super ripped, lies about it, and says that his gains are all natural, and that all you have to do is follow his miracle plan. And then, he's just like, yeah, do my miracle plan, and you'll fucking look like this too. And you're never going to look like that because the gains he has are impossible without steroids, basically. So anyway, as I've been trying to lose fat and gain muscle, the question popped in my mind because, I'm an American and Americans like the easy way. You know what I mean? Like we like the shortcut. And so, everyone knows the shortcut to like, I want to be big and ripped and shit is like, anabolic steroids. So I ask myself, like, how bad are they really? So I decided to look at them. So first, let's talk about the benefits of steroids. So increases muscular tissue due to enhanced protein synthesis, decreases body fat percentage. No one's even really sure why it does that, by the way. The reason that anabolic steroids make you lose fat, not really known. Increased muscle strength and power, enhanced recovery and workout, from workouts and injuries, improved bone and mineral density, better muscle endurance, and increase in red blood cell production. So this is the study that kind of just blew my fucking mind. This was published in the New England Journal of Medicine. So there was 40 normal men of similar builds and heights and weights. They were split into 4 groups of 10. So the first group was men who were given a placebo and no exercise. Second group of men is given a placebo and they have to exercise, weight lift and all that shit.
TJ must pop.
So the third group, they're given steroids but no exercise. The fourth group, the men are given steroids and exercise. So the placebo group, as you would expect, gained no muscle. They stayed basically the same. There was no reason for them to change. There would be no reason for it. So the placebo the group that they gave the placebo, but still had them exercise, gained about 4 pounds of muscle on average. The group that they gave steroids to and no exercise gained about 6 pounds of muscle on average. So even sitting on their ass, just having steroids they outperformed the group that worked out for fucking 10 weeks, because this is a 10-week study. The group that was on steroids and exercise gained 13 pounds of muscle on average in those 10 weeks.
In 10 weeks. That's pretty crazy.
So, I mean, like, insane fucking results, to the point where even if you just take steroids and sit on your fat, lazy ass, you're going to have better results than a dude that's going to the gym for fucking 10 weeks. So basically, like, build muscle and lose fat on total easy mode. So what's the catch? Well, I guess the better answer is the better question anyways is, what are the catches? So because steroids mimic testosterone, the reason that steroids work is because they're very chemically similar to testosterone. They have a very similar chemical makeup. So your body's natural testosterone production, which happens mostly in your testicles, basically shuts down because it just looks at your body and says,
good.
we've got enough testosterone. We don't need any more. Stop production, boys. And then your balls go, and they shrink down into little raisins, right? Little baby balls. And, it could get so bad that if your body, if you fucking take steroids long enough, or just if you're like a person who has like the unlucky genetics, even if you stop taking steroids, your balls may never resume natural, testosterone production again. They might just stay little shriveled, broken balls
bro,
that don't produce any testosterone ever again.
You said you were good, bro.
And then you pretty much have to take testosterone supplements, or you just have to, acclimate to having no testosterone in your system, which is not great. So another thing it can do is increases your risk of heart disease pretty dramatically. I forget the reasons why. It's not because some people, they said it was like, oh, well, it's because the heart is a muscle too, or whatever. But that's not it. There's a different reason, but I don't remember exactly what it is. 60% of steroid users experience heightened anger or frustration.
Roid rage.
Yeah, colloquially known as roid rage, yes. And, this is probably a contributing factor in the murder of the family of that wrestler, Chris Benoit,
Yep.
Who went totally fucking psycho and killed his wife and child.
CTE. He had like the brain of an 80-year-old, basically, because of the trauma he'd received, and he was a steroid user.
Right. So to do with the severe concussion, effects of being a professional wrestler, taking one too many steel chair shots to the head, and the already aggression, impacts of fucking steroid use and shit. Liver damage in the form of you can have like little cirrhosis spots on your liver or whatever, like polyps and shit form on it, and it increases your risk of liver cancer. And also, interestingly enough, whatever your body cannot use as testosterone, it converts into estrogen. So not only do you have a bunch of testosterone in your body, you have a bunch of estrogen in your body as well, which can lead to gynecomastia, which I already have anyway. It's basically man tits. Man tits, man tits, man tits.
Dude, yours would get even more voluptuous, though, dude.
Yeah, it'd be like, oh, yeah, hey, baby.
I'll tell you another thing they get, all those guys get, is their stomach bloats out like crazy.
Yeah, it can cause that weird bloating effect. So Schwarzenegger actually complained about that. I remember back in like 2014 or something. Schwarzenegger was at one of those conferences where they talk about muscle and shit, and he basically said that he didn't like all these bodybuilders now with these big bulging guts. He's like, no, you got to go for the perfect V-shaped. It was about the aesthetics and the beauty of it, but now it's just bulk, and it's like ruining the industry or whatever. It's not like Schwarzenegger didn't do steroids. He very much did.
Yeah, he committed to it, yeah.
Clearly. By the way, one thing about steroids is that a lot of people argue that if someone's done steroids, they shouldn't just be barred from the sport while they're actively on steroids. They should be barred for life, because some of the enhancing effects of steroids are just lifelong. Like Like it actually increases your capacity. It doesn't just increase your muscle size. It actually increases your capacity to build muscle for the rest of your life. So a lot of people argue that like steroid users shouldn't be allowed to compete like ever again if they've been known to use it. But I personally just think athletes should be allowed to use steroids. I don't fucking see why not. I mean, if it brings human beings to this new pinnacle, like when have athletics ever fucking given a shit about health? Most athletes die young. Like,
yeah, it's for the
athletics are not healthy. Like, it's like pushing your body to that extent does not like lead to like healthy outcomes.
Yeah, those guys have short careers. It doesn't care. I mean, there's almost no sport that someone's going to play a long ass time. Like maybe like tennis or golf or some shit.
You look at like wrestlers or football players or basketball players. Like a lot of them are just hobbled messes by the time they're like in their 40s, 50s, 60s, and so on.
Yeah, he'd be very fortunate to not be like that.
So another,
I'm telling you, man, I've got a hankering for a big glass of milk, a smoke, and some fucking roids right now, man.
Paul's gonna do it all, man. He's like, I'll tell you where I land.
Do you blend all that into just like one smoothie?
Down it.
Yeah.
Hey, man, it's your body. I don't give a shit. It's up to you.
So as far as another thing it can cause is infertility, which whatever. I don't really want kids.
Anyway. It only matters if you want kids. Yeah, if you don't give a shit.
Male pattern. That I've never come clean about this, but that explains my
all right,
infertility and Herculean physique. Oh, yeah,
I can see it right there.
Yeah, man. I've always wondered how Paul got so jacked.
It's the mountain of muscle, is Paul.
It was the roids, man. It was the roids.
Yeah, makes sense.
Also, baldness is another thing. I mean, obviously, men go bald anyway, but like, it can increase male pattern baldness because it does everything testosterone does. Basically, testosterone can contribute to male pattern baldness. You fucking fill your body with like super testosterone, it's gonna maybe cause you to go bald. So that's the side effects for men. In women, all those are present, but there's also some other stuff.
Oh, yeah.
So in women, steroids can cause deepening voice. You see some of these female bodybuilders and stuff that obviously do steroids.
Hi, my name is Tiffany.
It's like, okay.
It's like, you did roids.
Facial changes and hair growth. Like they can, they grow hair in places they wouldn't have otherwise. Enlarged clitoris. Clitoris starts to look like a little dick,
Do you want to see my pee-pee?
Irregular menstrual cycles. Decreased breast size. How the fuck does that work? You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah,
for guys, it makes your tits get big. For women, your tits get small. I don't know. And also infertility. In fact, I think that they said among like regular steroid users, I think like 90% are infertile. So if you ever see a big jacked dude that is clearly on steroids, like, oh, yeah, probably shooting blanks, just so you know.
Yeah, he has kids. He must have done it before.
I mean, not necessarily. I mean, it doesn't. I mean, like 10%, I guess, managed to not be infertile.
I guess what you could do is before, like, if you're gonna get super jacked like that and you want kids, you have the kids before, then you do it. Then
you guys ever seen like a lot of steroid users actually get this thing called ramen noodle veins? Because
they've
it's
got
basically like
really super like popped out veins or whatever the fuck.
It's not just the fact that they're popped out. It's
they're like squiggly.
Yeah, they get all fucking weirdly. I'll show you some. I'll show you an example right here. I'll just like do that. So here's some examples of this shit. Where's the one I was trying to pull? No, I don't want that. I want the picture.
Yeah, that guy right there, all natural, dude. He just ate right for 12 weeks and he got super jacked.
Yeah. So you see this guy's see how they like have this weird thing where they like kind of like wrap around each other and shit. They get like this weird fucking thing going on.
Dude.
Yeah, so they their veins start to like clump together basically. So like this is not the natural path that your veins take. Your body is not like, let's do a fucking crazy loop-de-loop. Whee!
Definitely
not. Here's a guy with it. There's another guy who has it really bad. Open a new tab. No.
Ramen noodle veins, dude. Gross.
Yeah, I know. Open image in new tab. Where the fuck is that? Oh, here we go.
Like my
Here's
ramen noodle veins, bro.
Here's another guy that has it pretty fucking
Dude, check
bad.
out my ramen noodle veins.
Yeah, so this is like, if you ever see this sort of thing on somebody, this does not happen without steroids. So anybody if you ever see anybody that has these kind of veins and is like,
all natural, bro.
All natural, bro. Natty gains, bro. Nope.
It's like people look at like, The Rock or something. It's like, oh, he says he doesn't. It's like that motherfucker eats steroids.
The Rock is basically more steroid than man at this point.
Steroids, okay? HGH. That was the thing that Stallone got busted for one time was HGH. I think he brought to Australia or some shit, someplace he visited. It's like, come on, bro. I mean, like, anyone that claims that they're not like that is lying. Just 100% lying. That's
all you have to do. All you have to do is just look at The Rock when he was actually a wrestler versus how he looks now as just like a movie star. And it's like, dude, when you were a professional athlete, you were fucking not nearly as ripped as you are now.
Yeah, he was like, nowhere near as jacked when he was a star in the wrestling shit than he is now. He's huge now.
Here, I'll just show you. I'll do a side-by-side for you.
It's like a fucking wedge of a man now.
Yeah, all natural.
So here's The Rock when he was wrestling, okay? Pretty big guy.
I mean, he's still a big dude. Yeah.
You would obviously shredded to the bone, like 0% body fat, and he's not huge either. Just big.
Yeah. So let me take and nowadays, it's just like so fucking drastic, okay? Come on, dude.
All natural, bro. All natural.
It's like, give me a fucking break,
Dude, look at his traps.
Yeah. They're gigantic. His traps are like bigger than most people's fucking like calf muscles. You know what I mean? Like they're bigger than most people's fucking any muscle. Like I think the glutes are like the biggest muscle in the body. That's bigger than most people's fucking glutes. These are fucking gigantic fucking traps.
It almost looks fucking like painful. Like he needs a real back rub because he's got a bunch of knots in his shoulders.
Oh, right. Just right here, these traps. Work those traps.
Oh, man, it hurts.
Well, the way it's portrayed too is like, well, The Rock works out a lot. I'm like, I'm sure he does, but he's also getting a little bit of help.
Oh, there's no doubt this motherfucker spends a lot of time in the gym. But like, I'm sorry, there's no amount of time in the gym you can spend that you're gonna get this fucking physique. This does not happen without fucking use of steroids.
And that's a disconnect that a lot of people have with this. I watched this documentary about
all you have to do is go look at what a bodybuilder looked like before people started using anabolic steroids. And you can see like pretty much what the peak is of like natural fucking
Sean Connery was a bodybuilder back in the day. That gives me an example. I mean, and like obviously he's like, yeah, he's like, but it's like it's nothing like this. Like he wouldn't even be able to compete.
Oh yeah. So like you look at like I don't know. I think anabolic steroids came on the scenes in like the 50s or 60s or some shit.
Yeah.
So like you get like these guys back in the fucking day. I mean, you can get pretty fucking good muscle and shit, but like it ain't like fucking this shit you're seeing here. This is like next level shit. Like this fucking amount of bulk just does not happen.
This amount of bulk.
Go type in like bodybuilders 1940s, bodybuilders 1930s, and you'll see like what the fuck.
This kind of physique is almost virtually impossible to get naturally. Like there might be some people that just have a predilection towards that, where they're just really big already. That can happen, but it's so fucking rare. Like 99.9% of people look like this are fucking juicing.
And if you look at what like strong men look like, they don't look anything like a bodybuilder.
No.
Strong men have like a totally different kind of fucking build and physique. Like training for strength and training for giant muscles, not the same fucking thing. But anyway, another problem with steroids is because so many of them are illegal, and they're illegal in most markets, many of them are produced, of course, in the black market. So risk of infection is pretty high. Risk of contamination is very high. Risk of ordering a product that claims to be one thing but is actually something else is very high. Mislabeling. So one more I want to do, because I think we have a little spare time. Have either of you guys heard about the obesity paradox?
No.
So it's pretty interesting. Around a dozen years ago, researchers noticed that some patients with chronic conditions such as heart disease fared better than others. Now, this should have been encouraging news, perhaps a clue to future treatments. Instead, researchers were baffled because the factor that seemed to be protecting these patients was fat. They were all overweight or mildly obese. When healthcare professionals get their first nutritional books, there's a chapter on obesity, says Glenn Gaser, director of the Healthy Lifestyles Research Center at Arizona State University. And it generally says that fat people are unhealthy and thin people are healthy. Researchers immediately began to explain this obesity paradox, or more often, to explain it away. Carl Levy, a cardiologist in Jefferson, Louisiana, was one of the first clinicians to describe the paradox. It took him over a year to find a journal that would publish his findings. People thought, this can't be true. There's got to be something wrong with their data, he told courts.
Well, of course, yeah.
Since then, dozens of studies have confirmed the existence of the paradox. Being overweight is now believed to help protect patients with an increasingly long list of medical problems, including pneumonia, burns, stroke, cancer, hypertension, and heart disease. Researchers who have tried to show that the paradox is based on faulty data or reasoning have largely come up short, and while scientists do not yet agree on what the paradox means for health, most accept the evidence behind it. It's been shown consistently enough in different disease states, says Greg Fonero, a cardiology researcher at the University of California, Los Angeles. The researcher who did the most to kick off the debate, and in the process became the object of much of the pushback it generated.
I have heard this side of it. I've just never heard it called the obesity paradox before.
Gotcha.
So I have heard a little bit about this. And what I think it is not necessarily some kind of fucking paradox that science can't explain. It's a complete misunderstanding of what a healthy body type is. So if you go back to before there was like processed foods and all of the shit that make us like hugely fat now, and you look at Renaissance paintings of women, for example. None of them, not a single fucking one of them looks anything like a female celebrity from today. They're fat. They would be called fat.
Oh yeah.
But that is, I believe, the natural kind of state of the human body. And I think that what needs to be adjusted is the expectations in the scientific community as far as what is a normal amount of fat you carry on your body. Now, I'm not saying being hugely obese like I am, or like some people are even fucking huger than me. I'm not saying that's good. I'm just saying, like, this idea that a certain amount of slimness, or I think it's gone too far to the slim side.
You might be right about that. So Flegel found that the lowest mortality rates among people in the overweight to mildly obese categories. It's true that these groups are slightly more likely to suffer from heart disease and some other life-threatening conditions in the first place, but many factors influence the likelihood of a person getting heart disease, and a strong link between weight and disease only emerges among people with severe obesity. So taken at face value, the results seem to be showing that a little extra weight is genuinely beneficial. Flegel is a meticulous researcher. Her most recent analysis incorporated data from almost 100 studies and close to 3 million people. It was published by the prestigious Journal of the American Medical Association, yet Flegel's work has made her a target for those who scoff at the paradox. Walter Willett, a researcher at the Harvard School of Public Health who has taken a high-profile stance against obesity, told NPR that one recent Flegel study was really a pile of rubbish and that no one should waste their time reading it. He was later admonished by the editors of Nature. In recent comments to courts, he reiterated his views that the study was rubbish. I don't know what his reasoning is. I'd have to look at it.
I mean, yeah. Then study it scientifically and come back with something.
Willett's complaints are starting to look less credible, however, because no one has been able to make the paradox go away. One of the most popular explanations is that fat people get more aggressive treatment than thin people because their weight raises red flags at the doctor's office. This seems questionable. Studies show that overweight and obese people tend to avoid doctors, get fewer preventative meetings, and receive worse treatment because they're often misdiagnosed as fat rather than with a specific medical condition. What's more, at least one team has examined and dismissed the better treatment explanation. The researchers, led by a French endocrinologist named Boris Hansel, analyzed data of 54,000 patients who are at risk of stroke and heart attack. The optimal treatment for these patients is well known: protective drugs like statins and beta blockers. But mild obesity seemed to protect at-risk patients whether or not they were taking the drugs. Another potential explanation is that the data on people of normal weight are skewed. Researchers know that people tend to lose weight towards the end of life, but they don't always realize that they are sick. Smoking also makes people thinner and sicker. So goes the theory. Maybe researchers have inadvertently lumped mortally ill people and smokers in with healthy folk of normal weight, thus making the normal weight group look less healthy than it really is. There's some evidence to back up this argument, but the studies on the issue are far from clear. The argument certainly does not seem to make the obesity paradox go away, at least according to Mercedes Carnethan, an epidemiologist at Northwest University who has analyzed data on diabetes patients. She began excluding patients who died within 2 years of diagnosis to account for people who were already sick but didn't know it. She still found higher mortality rates among thin people. Then she ran the data separately for smokers and non-smokers, still no difference. No matter how many ways she sliced and diced the data, the obesity paradox persisted. So basically, they're trying to fucking eliminate there's got to be something else going on here. It can't be that fucking having a little extra fat is actually good for you. They're trying to fucking find some way out of it.
There's got to be something.
They can't find it. It's like, no, I mean, maybe it is. Like, our bodies fucking accrue fat for a reason. It's not just, I understand that, it goes too far now. There's a lot of people who are too fat. I personally think I'm too fat. But I don't think that being rail thin and having no fucking, because what is fat? It's like stored energy.
Right.
Think about, it seems pretty obvious to me that if you're fucking sick, having a little bit of fucking energy stored up that your fucking body can use, even as you're fucking maybe struggling to fucking eat and shit, probably a good thing. Have a little fucking extra energy that your body can fucking tap into and be like, yeah, we're fucking going to the stores now.
Well, and like they
tap
said,
into the fat stores, fucking help fight the virus.
It was severe obesity. It wasn't just like, oh, you're a little overweight or you're a little fat. It was talking about people who were massively overweight.
I think I'm right. I think that the current conception of what healthy weight is driven by I think it's more driven by the fashion industry and the movie industry and the music industry than it is by any kind of provable fucking health standard. I'm not saying everybody should be big and blubbergumptious, but I'm pretty sure people are running around the planet with fat on them going all the way back. As long it's probably a sign of good nutrition to have a little bit of fat on you. It means you've got enough fucking food to have those fat stores and stuff like that. So
that's more of a cultural thing, right?
They're trying to prove away that this sculpted fucking Michelangelo's David body isn't really how human beings are supposed to look.
So here's a clinical psychologist in Los Altos, California, who treats eating disorders. He says people are furiously looking for some way to make this not the case, and I think that bears some comment. Theoretically, we should be happy to find out that people aren't dying the way we thought they were going to, and there's not going to be this terrible outcome, that people at higher weights are going to be okay. Even scientists whose own research has identified the paradox often seem ambivalent about the possibility that it might hold true. Carnathan has published several studies documenting a link between overweight and obese and better survival rates among people with type 2 diabetes, yet, like nearly every other researcher I've interviewed on the subject, she resists the idea that fat might not always be unhealthy. We'd never want to back away from weight loss recommendations, she says. Even when the evidence points otherwise, it's become aren't you just an evangelist at that point?
It's just a the standard of beauty, especially for women, is almost skeletal now. So it's just there's this devotion to this is what a person is supposed to look like as filtered through the media, as filtered through the collective consciousness of us and our direct ancestors and the people that brought them up and the people. It's just a meme at this point. It's a meme that a woman is supposed to be this little tiny wasp waist thing and a dude is supposed to be super lean and kind of thin. It's just not the case. And, sciences and its instruments are too accurate to fucking fuck that up. So they're not going to find an answer to this fucking,
the reason you're probably saying they want to back from weight loss is that they probably don't want people who are severely obese to take it as well, I'm fine.
Right. No, anybody that reads,
it even says that there's a link between severe obesity and fucking
I just see it all the time. I see people like that woman that was the sorry, not beautiful woman recently that fucking was on Sports Illustrated's cover. So I see people being labeled as fat, where I'm like, motherfucker, we have two different definitions of fat.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? She was thick. She had pleasantly thick. She looked, very pleasing hourglass form to her. You know what I mean? She was not fucking fat. And like for me, fat means like, it's hampering your mobility and you're fucking. Yeah, you fucking outgrowing your pants every time you have to fucking turn around and shit. That's fat. Like, but I think I see it all the time. I see a lot of people, look who got fat. Then I look at the picture and they didn't get fat.
Yeah, they gained like 10 pounds. They gained 20 pounds.
Botticelli is this a Botticelli?
I believe that it is.
Botticelli was really known for like painting these kind of like still the nudes of women. And he didn't paint a single fucking skinny woman. Like
I don't know if this is Botticelli or not. This is a Renaissance painting. I'm trying to figure out if it's Botticelli. It's at the Metropolitan Museum of Art. When I click on the page, I can't fucking see the specific piece I'm looking for. Oh, here we go. This is Venus and the Lute Player, and this is by Titian. So I don't know. It's not Botticelli, but the scene has actually been painted by quite a few people. Pretty similar composition, even.
If you put this woman in a swimsuit and put her on the cover of Sports Illustrated, people would call her fat.
Right, and the thing is that, like, you got this guy, Jordan Peterson, being like, they're trying to brainwash us with authority and trying to change the standard of beauty. It's like, we're trying to change it back. You know what I mean? Like, look at this.
This is like foundational times in Western civilization.
This is what a naked woman looked like in the Renaissance. So, like, who's the one that's really trying to change shit for the fucking, to fit their needs or whatever?
There's a lot of shit in that article that rang true too. It's like, as a fat person, you are like, as soon as you go in and you have a problem, they want to go, because you're fat, need to lose weight, and it's like, okay, but what about the issue at hand? Like, what about treatment for the issue at hand? It's always the weight loss first. Oh, got this, weight loss. And it's just like, maybe that's not really how we should be treating people.
Yeah, I don't know. It's pretty fucking it's pretty fucking silly.
It does default to that with people who have weight problems. Just immediately goes to like, well, you're fat, so that's the root cause of all your problems. And it's like, that's a simplistic explanation. And you're right. I mean, there is discrimination against people for those reasons. And it's like, maybe look for the root cause of the problem, but a lot of people have healthcare experiences like that, and if someone's skinny, then it's like, oh, well, skinny person should be healthy. So we're going to take that seriously. But if you're fat, well, your problem is you're fat. It's like, that's not very scientific.
And once again, I'm not saying people should be like rotund, like, obviously chunks. Just like there's a point where, like, if you build too much muscle, you're not fucking healthy. You might look a certain way that you find aesthetically pleasing, but you're not fucking healthy. There's a reason that bodybuilders and shit all die fucking super young.
Right.
It's not just because of anabolic steroid use.
Why is it that the fucking
to be that big?
The rail thin models and the super gigantic bodybuilders to whom we're all supposed to be aspiring as our perfect form of like human being, die way earlier than your average looking schmo. You know what I mean? Our standards of beauty have been pushed to the and like the diet industry and the weight loss industry, it's like multi-billion-dollar industry too.
Oh, huge.
You think that just cropped up out of nowhere? You think making people who look like this woman here dissatisfied with what they see in the mirror so that they'll go buy fucking ab rollers and different supplements and go to their doctors and get on drugs and shit? You don't think there's a point to that? Like, that's why this paradox keeps showing up in the medical industry, because the medical industry has been infected with this fucking stupid ass weight loss shit. As like, oh yeah, the first thing that we're gonna do if we see somebody comes in that's a little bit big, weight loss. Oh, weight loss. Oh, you can't breathe right now? Weight loss. You know what I mean?
Oh man, you too big.
And then we're gonna plaster these like absolutely abnormal sized people that are just rail thin or fucking have a body type that's like 1 in 10,000 or some shit. We're gonna throw them on the cover of every fucking magazine so that every little boy and every little girl feels like that their body is wrong. So that they'll buy all these fucking products to make their body look like something it was never meant to look like.
Yeah, here's another one. This is from the Renaissance as well.
Yeah, just look up Botticelli. He painted like almost maybe not exclusively women. He painted a lot of women.
Botticelli nudes. Birth of Venus, yeah. Dun dun. Oh, nope, don't do that. I want to see stuff other than just the Venus one. Bum, bum. Yeah, like every single one of these women, like they're not like morbidly obese women or anything, but like every fucking woman you see has a fucking, there's a belly there, and that like today that would be like, oh my god, what are they trying to force? What are they trying to force upon us?
She's huge.
Oh look! Oh why? No.
She's got a gut.
No. What is this? Quit trying to change the standard of beauty with authoritarianism.
Is that some Romans or some shit?
She's pretty fit. But I mean, even she has some fucking, still has some fat fucking stores like going on.
She has, yeah, dude. She would have like problem areas and shit. It's fucking ridiculous.
Oh, you
Venus,
got problems,
you really need
girl.
to work out. You really need to work out, girl.
Here's another one. Like visible fucking belly fat. You know what I mean? Like this is not like, oh my god, what's wrong with her? She's some kind of fucking subhuman monster.
That little fucking nymph or whatever's in the background. He's thinking like too thick. Go on a diet.
Damn, too thick, bitch.
I'm gonna look
your
away.
Health problems because you weight. Go on a diet. So yeah, quite a few things out there we're told are bad for us. And usually it's a grab bag. Some things are definitely bad, but even the things that are viewed as just completely and utterly bad still have their positive attributes. Like there's very little that you could fucking do that's 100%. Oh my god, it has no benefits. Everything has fucking benefit. No, there's nothing a human being does that doesn't have some kind of fucking benefit on some fucking level. Otherwise, they just wouldn't do it.
Right.
So I would say like ultimately like milk, you can make your own decision on that. Cigarettes, probably not good, but definitely have fucking positive attributes that we went over. Anabolic steroids, probably not worth it, but I guess if you just want nothing more in life than to be a fucking gigantic fucking hulking beast of a person, go for it.
Life to live. I mean,
yeah, just remember that you're probably going to live a shorter life than you otherwise would. And as far as like fat and obesity goes, like a little bit of fat probably ain't going to hurt you. It might actually help you. And that's my episode.
Terrible.
Sorry.
This episode was bad for you, TJ. It was bad for me. Bad for you.
Deep fat pride.